And we are live. How you doing, buddy?
Doing swell. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. This is Chris and myself, Mike from Almost Patriots. This is our second episode of a spinoff from Almost Patriot. This is actually called Almost Athletes. This is going to be going forward our podcast. Chris and I, we're going to be talking about sports related issues. We're both big sports fans. Chris is a huge Oregon and Steeler fan. I'm a New York Yankees, Knicks, but overall, we're both big sports fans around each league. So our segments are going to be sports related in this. We're going to start today off. Obviously, we're live, so we're going to talk about some of live sports going on right now. Chris, what's going on in the world of NHL?
Playoffs, man. Everybody in the Western Conference Finals tied up 2-2. Those are the closer series, and then everybody in the Eastern Conference, the team with the higher seed is winning 3-1 going into Game 5. So your New Jersey Devils are winning right now.
My New Jersey Devils are winning, so I'm a Rangers fan,
Yeah,
not a Devils fan.
I
So
know.
get that shit right.
Oh, that
But
was funny.
at least, okay, I am happy right now because my New York Knicks are up 3-1 and currently playing against the Detroit Pistons. And boy, oh boy, the Knicks got away with the last game because the refs did not call a foul. And as a New York fan, I am so happy because that was a foul. For those that did not watch the game, it won basically a last second shot. The Knicks player, I believe it was Josh Hart, decided to basically take out the legs of Troy Pistons shooter, three pointer. And guess what? No foul was called. The shot was missed, and the Knicks walked off the court with a win. So, no complaints. Right now, the Knicks are losing. I believe it's 15-14.
Went the other way on the Lakers.
This is game five.
It went the other way. The Lakers had the
What's
same
up?
thing happen. There was a foul that didn't get called, but it went against the Lakers.
Yeah, well, I don't feel too bad for the Lakers, okay? LeBron is getting old. The Lakers have no defense, so good luck to the Lakers. But I'm sorry, Anthony Edwards is a beast for the Timberwolves, and man, he's one hell of a player.
Yeah, they're not afraid of the Lakers at all. And Golden State, oh my God, did you watch the last game? The fourth quarter
Forget
was
about it.
insane.
Yeah.
With Butler, they're a totally different team. Um, they're fun to watch.
Yeah, the Golden State Warriors for a long period of time with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, the Splash Brothers. Draymond Green was a little bit younger, and he was like basically an enforcer a lot of ways. But they had such a cohesive nature between Thompson and Curry. Curry obviously leading the way, but they always had great like role players. Jordan Poole, Andre Iguodala. They had a bunch of great role players. This team is different, where they really actually they have a star in Butler as well with Curry. Thompson was a star for years, but unfortunately he got hurt, and he has ever since he got hurt, he hasn't been really the same player to say the least. So Golden State Warriors, I don't care what anybody says. Curry's getting a little bit older, but man, well, he's still a phenomenal player.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the. I mean, as much as I like, Miller and Bird and some of these older guys that could shoot the lights out of the gym, Steph Curry has changed the game with shooting the three. It's like he just, I mean, changed the whole dynamic of the game.
Yeah, he's the product of the hands-off generation, where it's
No
like
touching.
the anytime, yeah, you get touched.
Like the
But
red light,
like if you
red light
see the
district in Amsterdam. No touching.
yeah, exactly. So the whole thing though is his range is out of control, but it's the consistency. Him
Oh yeah,
making 3 point shots at the rate that he's making them, which is insane. And what people don't realize is Steph Curry, like to create his own shot, is on a whole nother level. Like everybody talks about some of the best one-on-one players, like Kyrie Irving, based on his ball handling skills, quickness. LeBron James do his physicality and stuff. But Steph Curry, like the moves that he makes and kind of his step back, crossover, whatever you want to call it, his shot creating like moves. I mean, it's on a whole nother level. Like you can't even like compare. Like I was watching a game the other day where he did he gave, I think it was an in and out and a crossover, or it was a crossover behind the back. He created like 5 feet between him and the defender, and you can't give Steph Curry 5 feet. So what did he end up doing? We fucking just swished it and just like ran down the court like it was nothing. Meanwhile, at my age, if I ever tried to make one of those moves and stop on a dime like he did, I think I would break anything in my ankle, and my knee would literally tear in like
Pull a
six
Bo
different
Jackson
ways.
and blow your femur out of your hip bone.
Oh,
Yeah.
by far. And but yeah. So outside of basketball, let's go to the world of baseball because I'm a Yankee fan. I'm going to bring up the Yankees because they're playing currently right now the Baltimore Orioles. The Yankees are currently winning 12-0. They are, I
Jesus.
believe, 17-12 in the year. Yeah, yeah. The Yankees are 17-12 in the year. It's been a little bit of up and down. They've got a lot of injuries that they're dealing with. Some players are coming around. Some players are not. I think this is going to be an interesting year for their shortstop, Anthony Volpe. He's kind of underperformed in a lot of ways since he came up. He's had a lot of pressure playing in New York, but he hasn't hit for average. He's been below average. He's a good defensive player in some perspectives, but he's been making a lot of errors, which is another problem because New York for so long has had such consistent shortstops. And obviously, you had Derek Jeter, so consistency was always there. But Aaron Judge, man, guy is a first of all, he's a giant to begin with, but he's consistent. I think he has 8 or 9 home runs right now. And the Yankees pitching staff, especially their big free agent signing, Max Foodia, can't even pronounce his name, but he's been basically a stud so far. So I'm happy for my Yankees. I won't talk about the Mets because of a crosstown rivalry, so
But
we'll let
the
that go.
Yankees, dude,
Now,
the
Chris, do
Yankees
you pay?
there's so much pressure. I mean, they should have won a World Series by now. And
Well, it's tough, right? Because most teams go through the farm system. Even if you look at the Dodgers, right? Dodgers have recently been signing tons of free agents, but a lot of their utility players, pitching staff, come up through the farm system. And when you're coming up through the farm system, you guys play a lot with each other. So even if you have a big free agent signing, okay, you still have a cohesive team where each individual knows their roles. Now, when you sign the world's best player or one of the world's best players in Otani, his personality seems like he can just fit
right, just
in with a
fall in.
team. So yeah, he just fell in, and I got to be honest, the Dodgers, like watching them play, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy watching them play because it's a fun experience, and they have excitement up and down the lineup. Not to mention, they had three of the best players in baseball, or three of the top 10 best players in baseball: Mookie Betts, Otani, and then you also have Freddie Freeman. So those three players are some of the top talent that they signed in free agency. But overall, their whole entire team, you got a lot of guys that come up
Yeah,
through the
once they
system.
once they
It's
escaped from the Padres last year, I say escaped because they should have lost. I had a
I
feeling
was
they were going
hoping.
to win. There's just nobody going to stop them after that. I mean, the Padres should
Yeah,
have beaten them, and yeah, there was no stopping them after
yeah.
that.
I got a little upset. Obviously, my Yankees lost to the Dodgers last year. One of the things for me was when I was watching that series, you can watch the Dodgers. They're all hustle team. They're all heart. Where the Yankees, you had a couple players on last year's team that were all show, no heart. They didn't, they've made a lot of mental errors. That was a constant theme throughout the entire year. But yeah, we'll see what happens this year. As much as I'm a Yankee fan and I'm hoping for them, this front runner I still think are the
Yeah,
Dodgers.
I mean,
And if the Dodgers don't get there, there's only two teams I can really see that knock them out. One being the Padres, the other team being the Phillies. But yeah, so let's go to our first topic, everybody. We're off of our recap on what's going on today's sport. So our first topic is Sanders. So, Sanders from Colorado, everybody I think is aware of who he is. Deion Sanders' son. He was a quarterback for Colorado. He did not go in the first round, did not go in the second round, did not go in the fourth round, third round, fourth round, and finally went in the fifth round. I have my feelings on this. I watched a lot of his games this year. I'm reading a lot of reports about what's going on behind the scenes. There's been prominent like NFL players that have quote unquote said they've talked to team personnel and they've heard stories. So, Chris, I want to hear your thoughts on the reason why Sanders didn't go in the first round. But why do you think he fell all the way to the fifth round?
Well, I think there's a combination of things. One, I think his dad's obviously famous. We all love Dion, and I think he amplifies some of those, exemplifies some of those characteristics as well. And so he came out very boisterous, very loud, all over the social media, basically self-projecting as a first round draft pick, right? But just because you exclaim loudly over social media that you're a first round draft talent doesn't mean that you are a first round draft talent. And I never thought that he was a first round draft talent. I mean, he's like many Pac-12 quarterbacks. I mean, I know he was in the Big 12, but he's basically a Pac-12 quarterback, right? I mean, he does all the right things in college, makes all the right passes, accurate. I mean, like all those guys are all in the 60, high 60s, low 70% completion percentages.
Mm-hmm.
They're all good passers. But Shador is not a like generational athlete. He's not Caleb Williams. He's not 6'5", 225 or 240 or whatever Caleb Williams weighs, running like a sub 440 or sub 4540. Um, he's just not that. He's not that kind of athlete now. And I think from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of the interviews didn't go well. Whatever that happens all the time. I think it was just a lot of variables, and I think he rubbed somebody the wrong way, and
Mm-hmm.
so um, I think the only team that was really going to potentially draft him was the Giants, and he didn't go to the Giants. And so
Mm-hmm.
then I don't think the Steelers were ever really seriously considering Shador. So I think that whole sort of thing happened where everybody realized like, oh, okay, well, the only team that we thought would pick him didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so then now it's have you seen Draft Day? A great movie, right? Kevin
Yep.
Costner.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same kind of thing. Once somebody passes on the guy, then everybody starts being like, oh, what do they know that we don't? Sort of thing.
Yep.
So I think it's
So.
just multiple variables. I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody doesn't want to. I think a lot of NFL programs don't want to deal with his dad, right? A lot of them don't really like, guys that think that they're bigger, their personality is bigger than the organization. I think there probably was maybe some, hurt feelings in the interview process, and then I
Mm-hmm.
think when he got passed in the first couple of picks, I think everybody started to go like, well, maybe we shouldn't pick this guy in the first round. So
Yeah, well, okay, so I have a couple thoughts. So first, I watched a lot of his football this year because I was a big fan of Dion, and I want to see Dion on Colorado be successful. He had a great year this year. A lot of people that watch the games realized that the Big 12 had a down year. Also, Colorado really didn't play a lot of the top tier talent that was in the Big 12 this year. So there's a couple of things though. First, the NFL draft itself, a lot of teams weren't looking for quarterbacks. There were a select few teams that were really in the draft in the first
really
round,
weak
especially.
class, really
Yeah.
weak QB
The
class.
second thing, the second thing is outside of teams that need quarterbacks, the draft class in general was a very weak draft class. There was a lot of talk about how the prospects weren't as strong as previous years. Now, I did not think he was a first round talent. I think if a team was I think if a team was going to take a shot, it would have been one of those teams. But there's been numerous reports that have came out that talk about how he basically botched his interview process. Like I saw a report about the New York Giants. They sent him a package to like basically come in, do a private workout, be prepared for like basically a meeting, and supposedly he was unprepared and he turned off the entire organization. Unfortunately, the Giants were one of the teams that needed a quarterback, and by not acing quote unquote your interview, that hurts your draft stock. Did I think he should have been drafted in the fifth round? No. I thought he was a third round talent. I thought he is, I think he's a backup quarterback in the NFL. I think he has talent. Don't get me wrong. But if you watch his games this year, he made a lot of bad decisions. He held onto the ball way too long. He was accurate, but the reason why his accuracy percentage was so high was because they did a lot of screen passes. So, and that's where he got a lot of his yards. Now, also, think about this too. His wide receiver was the Heisman Trophy winner. If
Yeah.
you saw some of the catches that Travis Hunter
Oh
made
yeah.
and his
Making just
explosiveness,
insane
yeah.
catches.
If Travis Hunter wasn't on that team, I'm sorry, I don't think he's putting up the same numbers.
No.
But like Chris said, I think his off the field personality and his antics was the reason why a lot of teams didn't want to take him. And personally, I get it. But he is a backup in the league. I want to say that.
Well, to be clear, I think that we've seen a lot of off-field antics. I mean, Terrell Owens was a nut job from even when he was in college. I mean, there's examples of guys that like, I mean, their attitude was bad, but they're just so talented that you got to put up with it, right? You got
Yeah.
to you basically you have a coach that can sort of overcompensate for the poor attitude of like a wide receiver. Because there's some of those guys we've seen them all. Terrell Owens is the first one that comes to mind. Um,
But yeah,
I mean,
but
Deion
Terrell,
Sanders was a pain in the ass too when he was a Cowboy.
yeah, but
But
those are generational talents though.
yeah, there was yeah,
Teams
different,
will
just different level. Yeah.
yeah, teams will deal with that if you're performing. Like if you have the talent. And that's the problem with Sanders. Sanders' father went on like a media blitz, Dion. I love Dion to death, and I'm at Team Dion. But you go on a media blitz saying that your son is not going to play for certain teams
Oh
and
yeah.
do certain
Yeah.
things. There's
Yeah.
a difference. Remember Eli Manning came out of college and his father turned around and was like, "My son's not playing for the school." I get it. I agree. There's a similarity there, but there's a huge difference. Eli Manning was one of the premier players in that draft. Okay? He was the one that was supposed to go. Didn't matter. Top 10. Okay? Whereas Sanders, I didn't think he was a top 10 talent. And making demands like that just goes to show how hard of a problem it would be. Second thing, Eli Manning's brother, Peyton, was already in the league that time, and he was a proven success at that point. So there's a dynamic that you expect you're going to get the similar type of player. So yeah, I wish Sanders well. Like I want to see him be successful, but the antics with the parties, with his statements, not preparing, and thinking that you're just going to get drafted in the top 10 based on your last name and your antics during the combine, I don't think it was really that great of a look. But I wish him
No.
well.
No. Yeah. I mean, I hope he does well too. Fucking Browns, man. Oh my god.
Well, those are where
Oh,
careers
dude.
die.
Have you seen their so they got what's the Ravens quarterback? Joe Flacco.
They
The
got
old
Flacco, Kenny
reliable.
Pickett. Yeah.
They traded for Kenny Pickett, so they
Yep.
gave up draft capital for a former first round pick from the Eagles. And then they
Dylan
drafted the
Gabriel.
Oregon quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, and then picked up Shador Sanders. Like
I
every time I think the Browns organization couldn't make a dumber move, then they
yeah.
do this. It's like,
Well, think about this
why?
though. The Browns also have Deshaun Watson, and I believe owe him over the next 2 years 90. I think it's 91 million or some crazy
Yeah,
number.
yeah, yeah.
So, well, first of all, it was a great job trading for Deshaun Watson in the middle of his whole issue going on. So that's step one about how great the Browns organization is. But now, so I can understand the reason why they signed a lot of quarterbacks, but it makes you think. Okay, they drafted Sanders. Will they cut him? Because they have four other quarterbacks there. Okay, uh, interesting move, Browns. Good luck, but I don't foresee you're going to have a good year. And good luck to Sanders. I hope he does well in the NFL. But there's a lot of all those speculating. There has to be a lot of reason behind the scenes why teams didn't take him.
Yeah, I mean, if I could think of another quarterback that had a similar skills, like similar level of skills, obviously not the same skill set. I mean, Gabriel's a little bit shorter. I think he's a little more mobile than
A lot
Shador
more.
is, but obviously doesn't have the size. So I, like those two competing together for a spot, I think they're basically competing for the third string spot. I mean,
I agree.
Flacco is still Flacco, right? He's 6'6". He's got a cannon, and
67 years old.
for the most part, makes good choices. Obviously, he definitely
Hmm.
has his. If you're gonna say, hey, is Joe Flacco my guy for like 3 out of 4 games? I'd say yeah, he'll do well 3 out of 4 games. So that fourth game though,
Yeah.
that fourth game, there's like 4 interceptions. You
Well,
know,
his decision making and his old
yeah,
arm gets into it.
yeah.
But yeah, so Browns, good luck. We'll see what happens. Sanders, good luck. But yeah,
I don't know. I think the Browns are. I think I've seen some memes out there. Your Browns have already been eliminated from the playoffs. It's not even.
the
So,
Browns are not making the playoffs.
no,
Yeah.
no,
All right, so we're on
pretty
to our
bad.
next topic, and that is NHL Capital playoffs. Chris, why don't you take it over and tell us your feelings?
Oh man, this is great. I was so excited. I watched the game 4 Capitals, and Montreal is putting up a fight. I mean, they're a young team, and they're not afraid. And it kind of reminded me. So the Capitals won the first 2 games at home, and then they were winning in game 3 and ended up losing the game.
Hmm.
And then in game 4 they were winning again, and then they were down a goal in the second period, and I was kind of having flashbacks of some of the seasons when they won the President's Cup and lost in the first round. And it
Okay.
was like basically the same storyline. It was like they won the first 2 games at home, and then they would slip up and lose a game that they should have won for game 3 away, and then game 4 just gets away from them, and so then the series is tied when they come back home. They win their home game, and then they lose the away game again, and they come back home and lose game 7, like inexplicably. Like the fourth home game, they just can't win, right? And it's always game 7. It's always at home, and I've been at a couple game 7s in DC where the Capitals lost, and we're like, they're the President's Cup's winner, and they lose to the Flyers, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
Like what is going on? Um,
it's
but
tough.
this year, game 4 away, they were losing, and they rallied in the third period and won by 2 goals, and I was like, okay, all right, this is not a place that we're all used to being in as Capitals fans, where they actually
Mhm.
like take a commanding series lead going back home for game 5. It's like, okay, this feels a little bit different. It feels more like the playoff run when they won the cup.
Oh, yeah. So they're up 3-1 right now. They're going into game 5 and they're playing home. Is that correct?
Yeah,
And that home game, obviously, it's not tonight because
tomorrow
if
night.
I
Yeah,
remember, yeah, it's travel day, so it's
yeah.
tomorrow night. You think they're going to take it out?
Like I said, this team, they're better. They're a lot better. I don't know. The Montreal team is really putting up a fight, and their goalie has made some just stupid saves. Um, but you never know how it goes. I think the Capitals will win. I think they'll pull it off. But whew,
Gotcha.
it's been a hell of a series. It's been
Well,
fun to watch.
how's their superstar playing, Mister All Time?
So cool thing about Ovechkin's,
Mm,
which is I blew my mind in game 1. He scored the game-winning goal in overtime, which
mm-hmm.
was his first ever playoff overtime goal.
What?
Yeah,
He's been playing for like 40 years. This
I was
guy.
like, wait, what? Yeah, he's never made a overtime goal in the playoffs to win the game until
Wow.
this series.
Yeah, with
And I
all
was like,
those goals.
okay, wow. And that kind of goes to why the Capitals have had had trouble in the playoffs under Ovechkin. It just seems to um, not find the back of the net as much in the playoffs as he does in the
Hmm.
regular season. But his teammates have definitely stepped up. When I'm watching him, it does feel like he's lost a step. I mean, love the guy to death. I mean, he's done so much for the game of hockey, and it's been fun to watch him. But he definitely looks slow out there. Um, he doesn't. He doesn't. Like game one, I thought he moved a little bit better. But like watching him on game four, he was definitely like 45 seconds on the ice is a long time. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So based on who the teams in the playoffs right now, who do you think has the best shot to win the Stanley Cup?
Well, I mean, obviously, the new Panthers team.
Well, they've been
Um,
dominant over the years,
they're
right? Haven't they?
yeah, they're doing really well. The franchise, they're the expansion team, and then of course everybody's rooting for the other Canada team. I can't think of their name right now.
Toronto Maple
Is it
Leafs.
Toronto? No, it's not the Maple Leaves. It's the Jets. The Jets. They're another expansion team, a recent expansion team. The Jets.
Okay,
But they're tied up with the Blues right now. The Blues are giving them hell, um,
gotcha.
and they're supposed to walk over the Blues in this series. So, but yeah, the Panthers are the team that I think the team to beat. So we shall see if the Jets survive this series. I think they'll be hard to stop them.
Gotcha. So you're telling me there is ice in Florida?
People put it
Um,
up in places.
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see because, quite frankly, there's a couple of really good teams. It's going to be, I don't know. Right now, the Jets and Blues, the series is tied 2-2. You have Dallas, that's 3-2. You have the Golden Knights and Wild, which is 2-2. You have the Kings and Oilers, which are 2-2. And then you go to the Eastern Conference. Senators are currently beating the Maple Leafs 1-0, but the series is Toronto leading 3-1. Obviously, we talked about the Lightning. Florida leads 3-1. You also have, like we spoke about, the Capitals. They're leading 3-1. And then you have Carolina leading in their series 3-1, which is the Hurricanes versus the Devils. Devils right now, New Jersey Devils, located in Jersey. For those of you, it is not New York. Just because we live close doesn't mean we root for the same teams. Even though I'm a New York Giants fan, and the Giants are technically not a New York team. They're located in Jersey, so forgive me for that one. Anyways, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
Well, that's like the Redskins, though. I
Oh yeah,
mean, the
why don't you tell
Redskins,
me
their
about the
stadium's in
Redskins?
Maryland.
Yeah,
Commanders, sorry, Commanders for those politically correct people out there.
well, there are now called the Commanders. What was it before that? The Washington Football Club or
No,
football team?
oh yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. That was like 2 seconds. Yeah, but
Well,
their stadium's in Maryland, so it's like it sort of it's weird to be a Washington D.C. team in the Maryland stadium. They cross into so many different states for fans.
oh,
Um,
I know. That's
but
that's
they're
the New York
they're
teams.
they're building a stadium in D.C., so
And
that should be interesting.
with that one, let's go to our next topic. See everybody how we rolled that over? We intertwined it into it. Okay. See, and Chris is supposed to change the banner at this time so it goes down.
I'm working on it. Okay,
Okay. Well, for
Redskins
you, yeah, for you,
Stadium.
it's not Redskins, it's Commanders. Get it
Nope,
right.
I'm putting it out there. They
Yeah.
can deal with it.
So, anyways,
Nope.
that's not it. That's something else. Chris is getting used to this. Yeah, so the Commanders, aka the Redskins,
Terrible
aka the
producer.
Washington, aka the Washington football team, and DC reached a deal for a new $4 billion stadium at the RFK site. This is very interesting. If I remember correctly, the Commanders were the one of the few teams in the NFL that's original stadium was actually paid off. They didn't own any money, no financing, nothing. So now they're building a brand new stadium. It's going to be 65,000 seat. It's going to be interesting to see because, excuse me, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because it's it's going to be a dome stadium. Obviously, they want it indoors because of the weather in the area. But this continues the trends of professional sports teams building new stadiums. We have the Raiders of recent. We have the Oakland Athletics that are moving to Las Vegas that are building a new stadium. You've got a couple other teams that are doing the same thing. This is not a new trend. You have teams that also have proposals. For example, the New York Mets want to create a new complex around their stadium. The Golden State Warriors have been talking about doing something like that. Dallas Mavericks have plans where they want to do that. And then you have the LA Rams. This is a constant thread in the last previous years. What's your feelings on this new stadium, especially being located in DC?
I mean, I love it. RFK is great. I've been to some sports games in RFK. There's a stadium stop all the way down there at the end of the peninsula. Um, so traffic, because traffic obviously in DC sucks. So yeah,
Yep.
you just take you
Oh,
take
yeah.
the metro all the way down to the stadium, uh, just like the Capitals arena. There's a metro stop in the Capitals, or the Verizon Center, or whatever it's called now. Um, so it's always nice that you don't have to you don't really have to drive all the way down there.
Hmm.
But I mean, 4 billion is a lot of money. Um,
Well, just to give you some numbers, 2.7 billion are going to come from the Commanders themselves to build the stadium, and then 1.147 billion dollars are coming from the district to cover the cost of other aspects. Which brings us into another topic. What's your thoughts on the subsidy programs from government or states for these teams to build stadiums? See, I have a controversial view on this, but I would love to hear yours to start out.
well, I mean, you got to think about my favorite example is always Dubai, right? So Dubai's like the UAE. Um, they were basically realized that they're going to run out of oil at some point in the future, and so they decided to make Dubai a tourist trap, and so that's why they have the world's only six-star hotel. They built the tallest building in the world with no plumbing in it. Um, they have an underwater hotel. They had the Palms. I mean, they basically went all out. Like Ferrari World is in Abu Dhabi. They host LPGA Masters or something. There's an LPGA event that goes in Dubai every year. Um, they have basically brought in tourism. That's their number one, revenue stream right now. So when you think about football stadiums, obviously football is big for like what, half the year, if that, not even, maybe two, maybe a third, right?
18 weeks, playoffs, you throw in another 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah. So the rest of the year, I mean, like here in Indy, I mean, Taylor Swift's played at the arena here twice this year, last year.
How do you know
Um,
that? Did you go to any of the concerts? Because
I
you
did
look like
not.
a Swifty.
I
You
did
do
not
look like a
go.
Swifty.
I did date a girl who was a Swiftie, so I've endured. But that, I mean, the whole city's packed full of people. I mean, it seats 90,000 or whatever it is.
Hmm.
So RFK is the same thing. I mean, the soccer team's going to play down there. I'm sure they're going to have events down there. And then, anything that they're going to have concerts. They're going to do all kinds of stuff to bring in money. It's not going to take as long as people think to pay that off. I mean, all they're going to do is just throw events the whole rest of the year at RFK,
I
and
disagree.
that seems to be the new trend now, right? We talked about this a little bit on the other podcasts. It's like that people want to do, in real life things like Coachella. Like like everybody's financing their tickets to Coachella. It's the same thing. Like
Hmm.
everybody wants to
Municipal bonds.
pay to go and take pictures for Instagram at events. And so, I mean, if RFK can tap into, so 1 million people commute in and out of the city every day. So all you
Hmm.
got to do is tap into a portion of that, and boom, there you go.
So I agree. So I'm a little controversial with this. There's a lot of people don't think municipality money should be going towards stadiums, and I'm actually in agreement with that, based on the old model of stadium building. See, the old model of stadium building is financing or having the city pay for 50% of the stadium, but it was just the stadium. The new stadiums nowadays, they're making them into complexes. They're trying to put hotels around them. They're trying to put
Oh yeah.
restaurants around them. They're trying to put retail shops around them. They're trying to make them entertainment centers. That's the new model, and that will eventually make the teams, or everybody will make their money back, because it's not just a sore eye when there's no football games or nothing going on. So I think overall, like, I'll give you a perfect example. The Miami Marlins Stadium is one of the worst financing by a city ever. The city's going to be in debt for the next 99 years trying to pay off that stadium. It's different because it's just a stadium that they do
Right, there's
concerts
nothing
at, or
else
they do
there.
something there. So the newer complexes, which actually in this circumstance I actually like, because it's an entertainment stadium, but it's really an entertainment center around it, because you're going to have a bunch of revenue and capital coming into it. So you'll pay off the stadium, you'll pay off your bonds in a shorter amount of time. The second thing I will say, it's Washington D.C. also. You have the foot traffic. You have
Oh
the
yeah.
people coming in. You have a lot more going on. So realistically, the revenue sharing, the money being made, the payoff, it's going to happen relatively, I think personally, in a quicker period of time. San
Yeah, the
Diego,
Snapdragon's doing that.
yeah,
Snapdragons, they built that new stadium, but they're building a whole like
complex.
complex
Do
in
you
Mission
remember
Valley.
when? Do you remember when the Chargers were trying to get, funding for their new stadium in San Diego? If you ever looked at the renderings at the time, the San Diego Chargers, it was just a stadium. There was so much
Mm.
land in that area with those parking lots and everything. It could have been so much better, but they failed. So, do I agree? Do I agree with the idea of the Washington Commanders, aka the Washington football team, aka the Washington Redskins? I do agree with this, because one of the things about it that I like is it's a complex, and that's what most of these major teams are doing. So I think it's going to generate revenue, but I think it's going to generate jobs. And I think there's going to be more events and things going on. So you're going to see an uptick, especially in these cities. I still think, though, my Giants are going to whip the Washington Commanders, aka Washington football team, aka Washington Redskins ass. But
Sorry, not happening.
we got Carter in the draft. We got Jackson Dart. We're going to the Super Bowl. Um, um,
Oh, you're
you
funny.
know,
You're
but
cute.
yeah, so you're cute. You're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You don't even get to speak, okay? You don't even have a quarterback.
Wow.
You're waiting on Aaron
Wow.
Rodgers, all right? And Aaron
No,
Rodgers
no,
is in
no.
like some retreat in the mountains of Minnetonka, okay, in some
Look, man,
cave.
he's doing peyote on a cliff somewhere, okay? You know, he's living his best life. Leave him alone.
Yeah, he's somewhere. He's in Guantanamo, in effect. Yeah, he's somewhere out there. So I think, yeah. So long story short, though, is I think Commanders, the way they're doing it is, I think you'll see the money back earlier. I think because it's a major city, I think the area you're going to generate revenue, but it's a complex now, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Jaden Daniel will be very happy because the stadium, at the end of his career, will probably be built,
Yeah.
knowing,
Yeah, he'll play the first season there and
yeah,
then retire. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, but also if you look, Buffalo Bills, their stadium is almost done, which is hilarious because the Buffalo Bills stadium is, I believe, an outdoor stadium. So they
It
love their
is.
snow,
Yeah.
and they love those, those conditions. So they decided to do that. And then the Raiders. Have you been to the Raiders stadium at all?
I have not, but I've seen it. It's pretty dope.
It's gorgeous. I was inside.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Um, yeah, the stadiums though. You know what stadium is not gorgeous?
SoFi. You can
Oh
say
God.
SoFi.
No, I wasn't going to say SoFi. I
Oh.
was going to say the 49ers.
Oh, really? I haven't been down there.
Yeah, the
Is it
49ers Levi
garbage?
Stadium, but it's not. So this is a misconception. Everybody thinks it's in San Francisco. It's not. It's like 45 minutes away from San
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Francisco.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
gotta be.
I'm not a big fan of that stadium. Yeah. You know what other stadium I'm not a big fan of?
The Browns.
You were just thinking my mind because if Sanders, we're
No,
gonna
man,
watch it. We'll
because
watch.
the
Gonna watch a
Browns.
game this year. We're gonna watch a game this year, and they're gonna rotate through 5 different quarterbacks or four
Yeah,
different
no,
quarterbacks
yeah,
this year.
yeah.
Flacco threw an interception. Pickett go in. Pickett threw an
They're gonna
interception.
be like, we don't need extra linebackers. Let's have 5 quarterbacks on the roster.
Well, yeah. The funny thing about
they're
Sanders,
gonna
the
make
funny
they're
thing
gonna
about
make Sudor Sanders play like safety or something because they're run out of players.
yeah, yeah. Go Commanders. Yeah, Jaden Daniels is very good. I actually think that the Commanders should have a good year. I'm a Giant fan, so one thing for me is I can say the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I don't think their draft they did a good job. I don't think they're going to have a successful year. I think the team to beat right now still is the Eagles. They added some great players in the draft. Obviously with Barkley, obviously with Jalen Hurts. They're the team to beat. And then I think you're going to have the NFL referees helping out the Kansas City Chiefs again this year to get to the Super Bowl for ratings. So you
Oh my
be prepared
god,
for that. You
it's
remember that
got it.
last year?
Oh my god, I couldn't watch. It was horrible.
It was
It was so
horrific.
bad. It was so
It
bad.
was horrific.
Yeah,
But
it was so bad.
anything else you'd like to add, Chris?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this season. It's hard to be a Steelers fan sometimes. The worst was 2010. My Steelers lost in the Super Bowl, and my Ducks lost in the national championship game in the same year. And
Is that
then
what Mariota?
no, no, yeah, that was Mariota.
That was
Yeah,
Mariota. Yeah. Yeah, Mariota. That was the national
no,
championship.
Mariota lost in 2014.
Okay.
No, it was 11. It was 2011.
Get your
2010. The
fucking date
Steelers.
right.
Well, that 2014 Mariota went to the national championship game and lost to Ohio State, but in 2011 we lost to Cam Newton. And
Gotcha.
I'm trying to think of who the quarterback was, but yeah. So the Steelers lost to Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl, and the Ducks lost to Cam Newton. Oh my God, I can't believe I can say that out loud. But then to start the season off the next year, that was the year that Oregon and Boise State had that fight where
Oh, I remember
yeah.
that. With
So,
Garrett Blunt.
Garrett Blunt, yeah. So the first game of the season for the Ducks, they lost, and the first game of the season, the Steelers lost. And I was like, "Come on!" It's
This
so,
is a,
so...
well, the good thing you're not a Jets fan. After all that hype with Aaron
Oh my
Rodgers
God,
on the first series, he goes down
it goes down.
and
Yeah.
never comes back. That's
The
that's the
only
story
time,
of the Jets.
the only time I ever drafted a quarterback in a fantasy football league ever was the year Tom Brady tore his ACL, and
Oh
I
my
drafted Tom
God.
Brady. That was the only time I've ever drafted a quarterback in the first round. I was like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
So
Well, to recap, everybody, just gonna go over some scores real fast. The Knicks, to go back, they're up 3-1 in the series. They're winning right now 50-47. My Yankees are still winning 12-1 in the top of the seventh.
are the Rangers in
And
the playoffs? I don't. Are they? Did they?
are you talking
Are they?
about in hockey?
Yeah, did they make the? Are they in the
Um, did Oregon win their first game in the first round? No,
Oregon?
yeah, did Oregon football win the first game in their
They
first
won the
round?
big. They won the championship game. Who
No,
cares?
no, no, that doesn't matter. College football playoffs.
Oh, I'm sorry. They played this. They played the steamrolling Ohio State after they sat for 33 days. Yeah, no,
Oh, so
whatever.
that is no
Every
then.
team that had a bye lost. What does that tell you? The
Okay,
best
that doesn't mean
teams.
anything. They still
Every team that
lost.
was supposed to win the game with the best team, they
Chris,
lost.
are you
So,
into college baseball or no?
I mean, I've watched the World Series every once in a while, but never really got into it.
Yeah, I'll just make one quick note because I'm
Mm.
looking at scores. Texas, it's first year in the SEC, and man, they look good. They're number one in the country. They look good. I mean, SEC baseball, and typically it was always the Pac-12, SEC, ACC, but now really the two leagues are just SEC and ACC. You have a couple of stragglers, but really those two leagues are just all you have. The unfortunate thing is the Pac-12 used to be you always could rely on Oregon, UCLA, Long Beach State,
Oregon
Cal State
State's the
Fullerton.
baseball team for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had some great stories about some of the recruits that played at Oregon that I used to know. But Yeah, so college baseball, it's basically ACC, SEC. That's the world right now. You have a couple of stragglers like UCA, UCSB, which is Santa Barbara. You have a couple of schools that are out there that are good teams, but that's really it. Um, but overall, let me just check NHL real fast because I would love to tell. Oh, it looks like the Senators are beating the Maple Leafs, and the Devils, New Jersey Devils, are winning 3-2 in the second period. Once again, I'm from New York, not New Jersey. I don't root for the Devils. And that's really it. Any last words, Chris?
Yeah, man, this is fun. I know, Rick, if you could be here, you would, but he hates sports, so
Yeah.
he falls
Well,
asleep. He falls asleep when we talk about sports for too long.
he
So,
falls asleep at the vents, too, that we go to. Anyways, everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a segment going forward. This is our spin off, Almost Athletes, going forward. Tune in every Thursday for our other podcast, Almost Patriots. We're 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Times. And we are going to be doing our Almost Athletes at different times. We haven't designated a time. We're going to try to do that when we're available because we love sports. Thanks for tuning in.
probably do it around sporting events too. Probably fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. Chris, do your stupid lasers because I knew you were going to do it.
get on standby, bitch. What do you expect?
I knew you. I knew you were going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for joining. And we tune in next time. Don't forget, Thursday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Cheers,
Have
all.
a good night.
Appreciate it.